Everyone moves in a unique way, but some people's movement mechanics are much more efficient, leading to reduced injuries. How can you check how prone you are to injury? Let's check it out. First, let's do a quick reminder of what the proper landing and deceleration mechanics are. First, landings cannot be stiff. Landings on straight legs send tons of force through the joints, which can lead to injury. Instead, players should sink into their landing, which means landing on their midfoot, not the heel. And when doing this, players should hinge at the hips, instead of hinging at the knees. Also, players must be strong enough to prevent their knees from caving into what's called dynamic valgus stress, a very weak position for the knee. Watch here how Kawhi's knees do not cave in and remain stable.
Demonstrating the bunnies.
When cutting and decelerating, everything stays the same. It's also important that players keep their feet in line with the direction to which they're cutting so that the knee doesn't turn inward. So now that that's out the way, let's get into how you can test yourself for how injury prone you are and why. First, a quick note. For all these movements, set up a camera at multiple angles and film yourself to help get an idea of how your mechanics are looking. So we're starting off with a basic vertical jump. On this vertical jump, you want to watch for three main things. Do your knees cave inward on the initial jump? Do your knees cave inward on the landing? And do your knees land way over your toes when you come down? Then, evaluate your jump shot for the exact same three things. We then want to move on to a three-step deceleration. On this movement, make sure to go 80 to 100% and stick the landing on one leg. Here, if your knee is very unstable and even caves in, or tracks way too far over your ankle, it's a red flag for your mechanics. Third, we're adding a cut to that same movement. If when you cut, your foot has a tendency to go in the opposite direction, it's a problem. Because if you angle your foot this way, your knee will naturally turn inwards and potentially cause injury. Next, grab a stable, short box and slowly lower yourself with one leg. If your knee stays stable and doesn't show the two types of poor mechanics we've talked about, it's a good sign. Finally, drop from this low box and land softly on 2 feet. Again, the knee should not cave in or fall forward. Now, try it a few times with just a single leg and evaluate yourself. Once you start to understand how your mechanics are looking, there are a few movements you can do to get to the root of your problems. We'll get into more of these in future videos. First, you want to check your ankle range of motion. Put your foot against the wall with your big toe 10 centimeters away from the wall. If you cannot touch your knee to the wall, you most likely need to work on your ankle mobility. Most athletes should aim for about 10 to 15 centimeters of range of motion here. Next is an overhead squat with a pipe, a band, a towel, or a straight object in between your hands. Here, drop your butt straight backwards with your trunk above a 45-degree angle. If your knees move inward, your glutes are probably underactive or weak and can't control your knees. If you're bent over excessively, your hip flexors are probably tight and pulling you forward. This could be hurting your posture and your mechanics. A lot of this information is truly vital to maintaining a player's explosiveness while avoiding injuries. Make sure to try all these out and fill out the sheet that's down in the description. We'll talk more about this next video. Stay tuned.